Yeah. Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, we can hear you.
Alors, avant de commencer, juste une précision. Nous rencontrons actuellement un problème technique sur notre site web que nous essayons de régler le plus tôt possible. Alors, pour les personnes qui souhaitent s'inscrire, il suffit d'adresser votre CV et votre lettre de motivation aux adresses mail que je vais intégrer dans le chat. Donc, on peut commencer maintenant. Hello everyone and welcome to our webinar from education to action, empowering talent to accelerate clean hydrogen in Morocco and Africa. I'm Baash Kautar, Communication Executive at the Executive Education Direction of UM6P. UM6P is a young and dynamic institution in Morocco, focused on research and innovation. And his mission is to tackle global challenges, especially in sustainability, science, and technology, with a focus on Africa's development. So the executive education direction helps drive this mission by offering advanced training for professionals in different industries. And our programs are designed to build the skills needed in today's changing world, empowering leaders to drive transformation in areas like sustainability, leadership, ECC, and new technologies. Today, we will dive into key topic related to green hydrogen and its potential impact in Morocco and Africa. And now I will hand it over our moderator, Hayat Hawass, postdoctoral researcher at LIMSET, Laboratory of Inorganic Materials for Sustainable Energy Technologies, who will accompany you through this session.
Thank you, dear Kautar, for the small introduction. Very important. I wanted to thank everyone for joining us. Today, we will talk about one of the pivotal topic, which is green hydrogen production and its application in the different field in Morocco or Africa and global. First, it's my pleasure to introduce our distinguished professor and speaker for today, which is Professor Abdsamad Faiq. He is a full professor and director of LIMSET, Laboratory of Inorganic Material Sustainable Energy Technology at the Mohammed VI Polytechnic University, where he also served as the Research and Development Developer Director of Industrial Innovation and as a co-director of RDA at the Cluster of Green Hydrogen with a distinguished academic and research career. Professor Faiq has contributed extensively to advanced material science and energy storage technology. He earned his PhD from the University of the Basque Country in Spain, specializing in the synthesis, structural study, and phase transition of perovskite material under no ambient condition. Following his doctoral study, he completed a postdoctoral fellowship at the CEMT Laboratory of Sinners in French, where he worked on innovative material for sensible thermal energy storage. Professor Faiq has held a guest scientist position at the German Aerospace Center, DLR, focusing on a new material for thermochemical energy storage. Additionally, he served as a group lead at CES Energy Gun in Spain, where he led project aimed at developing innovative material for thermal energy storage. With over 150 publications, 6 international patents, and more than 100 contributions to international conferences, Professor Faiq is a recognized lead in his field. His research continues to impact the development of sustainable energy solutions globally. Today, Professor Faiq will lead us into one of the most crucial topic, which is green hydrogen production as a key pillar in the transition to sustainable energy. Green hydrogen holds transformative potential for reducing the carbon emission and inspiring innovative across industry. Professor, we are very excited to share your presentation and your insights. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Hayat, for this nice introduction. Thank you, Kausar, as well for the introduction. And also, I would like to thank all of you for your participation in this webinar of today. As was mentioned before, the title of this webinar is From Education to Action, Empowering Talent to Accelerate Green Hydrogen in Morocco and Africa. And at the beginning, I will just give you a small introduction. Why hydrogen? If we are speaking nowadays about the global hydrogen production, here we are speaking about gray hydrogen, not green. That means it's not clean hydrogen. We are speaking about a production of 97 million tons per year. Where exactly we are using hydrogen nowadays? As you can see in this figure, 25% of this production is going to petroleum refining. We have 55% is going to ammonia production. As you know, ammonia is used to produce fertilizers, or even is used as direct fertilizers in the field. And we have 10% of this annual production is used for methanol production, and others for other kind of application like transport. In Europe, we have minibuses, taxis are using hydrogen as fuel, or also in the industry of food, we are using hydrogen. But this is the current situation about the production in 2023, and also when we are speaking 2024, we will have more or less the same quantity. But if we see the prediction for the upcoming years, you see here that 2020 we were having like 89 million tons of production of hydrogen worldwide. In 2030 is expected to reach more than 120. 2040 is to double this quantity to reach between 245 to 270. And in 2050 to have 400 up to 469 million tons of production of hydrogen worldwide. Also here, when I speak about ammonia that we are using nowadays, is mainly used in Morocco for the production of fertilizer. And just to give you some numbers, the OCP group last in 2023 imported 2 million tons of ammonia. That means he spent like a total cost for this importation 2 billion tons. Why? Because also due to the war of Ukraine at that moment, the price of the ammonia was increasing a lot, and this like a special year that where a lot of money was invested to import these 2 million tons of ammonia and to be converted later on to other fertilizers. If we are speaking nowadays about these 97 million tons of hydrogen produced worldwide, from where is produced is mainly is produced by what we call steam methane reforming process. What that means this process is based on fossil fuels. That means we can have different kind of fossil fuels, hydrocarbons, and by the reforming of these hydrocarbons, we can break the molecule to produce hydrogen, but of course, we are producing in parallel a lot of CO2 molecules. If we are looking what is the cleanest way to produce hydrogen nowadays, what we call gray hydrogen, because we have other kind of hydrogen that are responsible even for more contamination, for more production of CO2, like black, brown hydrogen and others. But the cleanest one based on hydrocarbons that nowadays is matter technology is the steam methane reforming. What that means we take the molecule of the water, we combine it with the molecule of methane, CH4, and with some kind of reaction using catalysts, we arrive to produce hydrogen, but in parallel, we produce a lot of molecule of CO2. And just to give you for this gray hydrogen, for each 1 kilogram of hydrogen that we are producing in parallel 9.3 kilograms of CO2 that nowadays is thrown to the atmosphere. And I guess all of you know the consequences of this throwing CO2 in the atmosphere, among other molecules, greenhouse molecules. We observe that we have increase of the temperature of the earth, as you can see in this graph. And you see that from 1850 to 2024, we have a continuous increase of the temperature of the earth, and was reaching 1.51 by 2024. What that means, okay, this is having a very bad or very nefast consequences, impacts on the earth, about rising temperatures, we have rising sea levels, extreme weather conditions, agricultural impacts, ocean acidification, human health risk. And as you know, Morocco also we are suffering these problems that we have some years are with less raining, or we have even the big problems with the water, with a big impact on the agricultures. But in other place of Morocco, we have flooding. That means this is due to the climate change that we are suffering in the global. That means we need to find a solution to mitigate that. That means in all the industrial process, we should move from what is not clean to clean process or green technologies, like the case of hydrogen. And why hydrogen? Because if we shift from this one is just to produce this hydrogen in green manner, but also we are going to use this hydrogen to decarbonize many industrial sectors. Because apart of producing fertilizers, that's in this case we use hydrogen at feedstock, but we can use hydrogen as an energetic vector. That means we can use it as fuel for transport, or we can use it in steel manufacturing and other kind of process. That means we can decarbonize many kind of sectors that before it was not possible to imagine that we can decarbonize them. And when we are speaking about green hydrogen, it's not just the molecule of the hydrogen that nowadays we are using to produce ammonia, or we can use it directly as fuel, but we can do a synthesis of many kind of molecules. That means we can speak in the future not just about decarbonization, but defossilization. That means we don't need anymore to use fossil fuels. This animated scheme presents what we can do with hydrogen. Of course, we have renewable energy. We can use it with electrolyzer to produce hydrogen. Hydrogen can be used in many industrial application. But of course, if we want to go for other kind of molecule, just by air separation units, we can produce nitrogen. That after that, we mix it with hydrogen. We can produce ammonia. Ammonia can be used as fertilizer, but as well can be used as fuel for maritime transports. And in case that even that wants to go to negative carbon footprint, in this case, we can capture the CO2 that we have already in the atmosphere or other kind of industries. We combine it with hydrogen, and we can prepare all kind of fuels that we have nowadays, like diesel, benzene, kerosene, and so on. That means with the hydrogen, we can decarbonize almost all sectors, all industrial sectors. This is the reason why now green hydrogen is gaining a momentum in energy transition. And you can see just in this map, the number of the projects that we have worldwide. You can see that in the last year, we have more than 228 announced projects, 45 with integrated hydrogen industry, 17 gigascale production units, 90 large-scale projects, 53 to use hydrogen in transport. That means we have a big momentum now for hydrogen or green hydrogen production worldwide. Sometimes we are speaking about clean because also there are some countries, instead of producing green hydrogen, they are thinking with the classical ways how to produce hydrogen to produce gray. If we are able to capture all the CO2, can be blue, in this case can be classified as clean hydrogen. But with the problem with this kind of solution, we are not going to do the defossilization. That means we will need all the time a source of fossil fuels like methane to be used to produce this kind of hydrogen. Here in Morocco, we have a very attractive Moroccan offer based on two main projects. The first one, what we call green hydrogen Moroccan offer, under the high directives of the king and also the head of the government. And we have the second project, that is the project of OCP, to produce green ammonia and green molecules in general. I will give you just some numbers. We are not going to enter in lots of details, but regarding the green hydrogen Moroccan offer is aiming to reach an total investment of $320 billion. That's a huge amount of the money, and to create 400,000 jobs by 2050. And they offer 1 million hectares to develop these projects. In the first phase, they already identified 300,000 hectares in the southern region of Morocco, in Gulmim, Dakhla, Al Ayoun, And recently, they announced that normally they receive 40 projects from different consortium, with the idea is to invest in this region of Morocco to produce mainly green ammonia or other molecules and to export them to Europe. But as I mentioned before, with hydrogen, we are not speaking just about the hydrogen, but to develop all the value chain. That means the renewable electricity that will be used for the process, the hydrogen production units. After that, if we need, for example, ammonia, we need also to have like the nitrogen from air separation units. And after that, the Haber-Bosch or other kind of process that will allow us to prepare derivatives of green hydrogen. When we come to the OCP Green Investments Plan, as I mentioned in the beginning, OCP nowadays, they are importing 2 million tons of ammonia, gray ammonia each year. That means now the target is to invest to reach that by 2027 to produce 1 million tons of green ammonia and 3 million tons in 2032, with an investment budget of $13 billion. 7 will be dedicated just for green ammonia and other derivatives like green kerosene and among others. When we are speaking about green hydrogen production methods, of course, we have plenty of technologies, but the difference between them is the maturity, cost, and also if it is easy to implement or not. We can have like green hydrogen produced from biomass via biological or thermochemical process, or what we call water splitting. That means, as you know, the molecule of the water is composed by 2 atoms of hydrogen, 1 atom of oxygen. If we arrive to break this molecule, we are going to produce oxygen and hydrogen. And to do that, also we have different kind of process. We have electrolysis, thermolysis, photolysis. The most famous one or the most industry is the electrolysis, where we need to use electricity to break the molecule of the water to produce hydrogen and oxygen. But even with this process, we have different kind of technologies. We have what we call alkaline technology, proton exchange membrane technology, alkaline exchange membrane technology, solid oxide electrolyzer cells. That means we have also in this one, we have 4 technologies, and also we can have other technologies in the future. What means electrolysis? As I explained to you in the beginning, that via electricity, we can arrive to split the molecule of the water to hydrogen and oxygen, and this is the technology I listed before. But if we see to the total reaction, that means it's very simple. For all of them, we have the same results. But when we go deep to the half reaction, we see that the processes are completely different. And you can see in some of one, we need like a membrane allowing us to the hydroxide to move from the cathode to the anode. In other ones, we need to have a membrane allowing us the proton of hydrogen to move from one side to other side, or the anions of oxygen from the cathode side to the anode side. That means also the materials that we are using in the cathode and the anode are different for each kind of these technologies to be arrived to drive this half reaction that we have at cathode side and anode side. And also here it's very important to mention, for example, in this case of alkaline technologies, we have basic conditions, but in the case of proton, we have a very acidic condition. This also should be taken in consideration when we are developing this technology. And here, to give you ideas about the material that normally we are using for the cathode, for the anode, but also for the support material. In the case of alkaline technology, that's normally nowadays is cheaper compared to the PEM technology. We are using nickel or nickel cobalt alloy in the anode part, or nickel molybdenum alloys based on the cathode part, but coated on steel to decrease cost. That means just the active material is coated on the steel support to decrease materials, and also we can use steel for the stack and also for the electrolyzer. But in the case of PEM, we are using noble metals like radium, ruthenium, platinum, palladium. Why? Because we need to have material with high potential, but also that material are resisting to the acidic media of this technology. But when we start to speak about green hydrogen and we have renewable electricity, you know that the renewable electricity is providing us intermittent source of energy. In this case, we start to speak that maybe PEM technology is more suitable for renewable to be integrated with the renewable electricity, or also alkaline. We still have big question regarding these technologies. But here, just to give you idea, even that we are speaking alkaline or PEM, we know that, for example, for PEM, we are using noble metal that are in this hand, just to give you idea that with $1,000 quantity of material that we can buy. But in the case of PEM, we can use cobalt, nickel that you see here in this photo with normal steel. That means the technology is cheap. But also when we are speaking about alkaline, we are using nickel. Nickel is more abundant, but we have problem of price fluctuation due to the conflicts with other kind of emerging industries like batteries, and maybe in the future also the cost of this technology will be high. But in case we are providing just this information to also to give you insights about why we need other kind of technologies in the markets in the near future. But this is not the old story, because even that we have water electrolysis is depend of the source of energy that we are using. We have a classification of the hydrogen. If we are using water electrolysis with renewable, in this case, we can call it green hydrogen. If we are using electricity from nuclear, in this case, it's called pink hydrogen. In the case of we are using electricity from fossil fuels, in this case can be blue, can be other colors, but not green. To be green, we should have these three blocks. The first one, the feedstock, is completely green. The process that we are using is green, and also the source of energy is renewable. Just to give you some introduction to show to you that we still have a lot of challenges to face before the implementation of this technology in Morocco or worldwide, because we have the question of the cost gap between the cost of green hydrogen and other colors, or gray hydrogen or blue. We have the question of levelized cost of electricity that we need to develop this technology. That means should be as low as possible. The question of the water, as I mentioned before, in Morocco we have draft during the last year. That means there are conflicts of use with other sectors. That means in this case, we should speak as well about green hydrogen. That means the desalination of the seawater by renewable electricity to face this challenge. We have questions related with the research and development to develop all technologies related with green hydrogen and its derivatives, the transport of hydrogen from Morocco to other place or even inside of Morocco, the public perception about hydrogen, because sometimes the people, when they hear hydrogen, they consider it as like dangerous compared to the classical fuels that we have in the market. Policy regulatory off-takers, who is going to pay this gap cost nowadays, aiming to decrease the cost with time. But we have training. Training is a pillar for the further development of this technology in Morocco. And this is the reason why at the university we integrate this kind of disciplines, skills in our curricula. We have already many PhDs that are working in this emerging field of hydrogen, researchers, professors. We have also courses integrate in the normal curricula we have at the university. But in order to prepare the directors of tomorrow of this emerging field of hydrogen, this is the reason why we create this executive master in green hydrogen and its derivatives. But of course, we have other training formation that will be launched very soon. This master was launched last year. Fortunately, we get a very successful edition for the first one, where we were having 54 candidates in the beginning that start with us, and we end up at the end of the training with 53 candidates that they already finished this executive master. And this is the idea why we are launching now the second edition that will start soon of this executive master. If we go to the program of this executive master, is composed by 8 models, as you can see here. Later on, I will give you more details. We have fundamentals of hydrogen technology and production process, technical green hydrogen production technology and emerging options, technical option for handling, storing, and transporting hydrogen, green molecular synthesis and green ammonia, fuel cells and their application in transportation, power generation, and industry, safety, regulatory, and environmental consideration for hydrogen technology. The 7th model is about business method, policy, and strategy for developing a hydrogen economy, and the master final project. And of course, we organized last year a learning expedition to Europe, where our participants, they visit one of main players in this field of green hydrogen, just to get insight about their technologies, how they are developing, how they see the market, and what is the main challenge facing to further development of this technology. And here I will just give you ideas. The first model, for example, was dedicated to provide the participant with the right skills, knowledge to know how we are producing nowadays hydrogen. That means gray hydrogen or blue or other kind of colors, how we are producing them. Why the aim? Because without knowing these bases, we are not going to know the interest how to develop green hydrogen. And aiming to study this the impact of that, we made a case study about environmental impact. That means at the end, when we are knowing the technologies that we are using nowadays, we can calculate what is the environmental impact of these technologies, and that will be used to justify why we should move to a clean and green technologies. The second model was about green hydrogen production technologies and emerging options. In this one, we provide to the participant all the knowledge to know about the green process to produce hydrogen, like photolysis, thermolysis, but with making the accents on electrolysis to understand what is the technology, alkaline technology, IM technology, PM technology, SOIC. And as case study, we did a comparison about this kind of technologies that are nowadays industrially matter technology, like PM and alkaline, just to make a clear comparison between them, a fair comparison to understand what is the advantage, disadvantage, because even that some of these technologies can have advantage today, but can lose it tomorrow. This is the main aim of this exercise, to know that we are just starting to develop this field. That means we need to have all the knowledge, all the parameters will allow us to have a fair comparison between the technologies that we have in the market. For the third model was about technical option for handling, storing and transporting hydrogen. This also will provide the participant with all the knowledge related with how to store hydrogen in liquid form, in compressed form, that means gas, and also in solid form. And after that, we did a case study about development of hydrogen solution based on solid state storage of hydrogen. That means we use some kind of material that can transform the hydrogen from gas form to solid form. And we show to the participants why the advantage of this technology that tomorrow can be in the market, or even we start to see that we have some prototypes using in industry, like the car was presented to the King of Morocco. The car of hydrogen is using this kind of technology. And in the fourth model, we were speaking about green molecule synthesis and green ammonia. That means when we have hydrogen, we can prepare green ethanol, green methanol, green ammonia, green kerosene, and so on. All these kind of molecules, we can prepare them. In this program, we are speaking about, okay, what is the technologies that we have nowadays? What is the role of each component of this technology, like the catalyst, the condition of the reaction, what is the efficiencies of this process, how we can transform them, what is the gain. And after that, we did a case study about tutorial on Haber-Bosch process. That means we show to the participants at laboratory scale, at M6P, how normally we can have the entrance of the nitrogen and hydrogen to mix them, to have the right condition of the reaction, and to do the synthesis of the green ammonia. In the fifth model was about fuel cells and their applications in transportation power generation industry. What means fuel cell? That means we can use hydrogen as fuel, and when it is mixed with oxygen inside of the fuel cell with a catalytic reaction, at that moment the hydrogen oxygen is transformed to steam, to water, providing us the electricity that we need to drive the engine of a car or for other kind of industrial application. And as case study, we are showing to the candidates what all kind of technologies that we have in the market. We have nowadays 5 commercial technologies of fuel cells, how to compare them, what is the advantage, disadvantage, where we can apply it, each kind of this technology at the industry. And for the 6th model, as I told you in the beginning, the perception that we have a big problem with the perception. Here it was about the safety. These are very important parameters. What is the good measurement that we should take? What is the classification of the hydrogen? How we can handle it at industrial scale? How we can transport it? What kind of standards that we have worldwide? And also we are speaking about regulation. What is the regulation that we will have in the future to transport hydrogen or to use hydrogen in industry? And of course, as case study, as we have heard something like related with the risk, but also we are obliged to innovate in this new emerging field. That means we're making a case study about how to balance between safety and innovation. For this seventh model, of course, as I thought, this executive master is dedicated to prepare the managers of tomorrow and directors of this new business in Morocco. This seventh model was dedicated for the business methods, policy, and strategy for developing a hydrogen economy. That means in this one, after receiving all the skills that we need to use to develop a business model for hydrogen plant or ammonia or other kind of plants in Morocco. And after that, we used a case study developing a hydrogen factory business plan. That's from the scratch up to the end, because the hydrogen is different to renewable electricity. That's just we install them when we get the electricity. But when we are speaking about hydrogen, that means we are speaking about factories to produce hydrogen, to transform it or other derivatives. That means we need to study all the business plan, how we can arrive to develop this kind of business plans in Morocco. And the eighth model, just after finishing all the 7 models that we equip all the participants with the right skills, here it was okay from their side to apply what they learned during this period with us in the industry where they are working today. That means they were taking all this knowledge and they thought, okay, for me, hydrogen, I can use it for in my current job in this application. And you are just doing like a review, some kind of simulation, some kind of case studies, and coming to share with us how normally developing hydrogen can impact the industries where they are working nowadays. And at the end, just I want to share with you, as I mentioned in the beginning, we were lucky in this first edition to attract the attention of 54 participants that they participate with us, but also from the part of the experts, we were able to involve 44 experts, 20 from M6P ecosystem. But as you can see here, we tried the best experts worldwide from France, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, UK, Canada, and Belgium. You see all these people, they come here to M6P to share their knowledge in their fields of expertise with our participants. And even some of them also, they were directing or following the work that was developed by the participants in the 8th model. And as I mentioned in the beginning, the learning expedition of the first edition was made to UK to our partner Ort Energy. What you see here in the backside is a proton exchange membrane technology developed by Ort's company. This is the CEO of Ort. He was showing with the participants how normally we operate this kind of technology, what are the advantages, disadvantages. But of course, they have some kind of sessions where they learn also from A to Z about this kind of technology, but also about the safety, how to implement this technology at industrial level. That's all from my side. I hope that I give you a nice overview about our executive master. And here just we will open the floor for question. But here I am providing you the emails that will be dropped in the chat to our colleagues Manel and Hisham if you have some question later.
Thank you, Professor, for your insightful presentation, and we will appreciate your expertise and perspective in this pivotal and critical topic. You give us such a beautiful presentation, take a different aspect, environmental, economic, and also you present your master executive that have a successful edition, and we are looking for the second edition. Now we will open the door for the question from edition. We will receive them from the chat and we will address them to Professor Faiq.
That's the case that you have some question, you can ask them also directly just by raising your hand, and the moderator will give you to activate your microphone.
Okay. The first question. Donc, La première question, c'était en français. Donc, quelles sont les critiques d'acceptation pour la collaboration M6P? En anglais, c'est-à-dire what they are the conditions for the collaboration with UM6P, Professor Pike?
Okay, thank you, Lamia, for this nice question. Okay, Mariam, collaboration. Of course, we are open for all kind of collaboration at M6P. In this first program, if we are speaking about teaching, we invite all the experts that we have in Morocco to collaborate with us in this program. But also for our research activities, we are open to collaborate with everyone that wants to collaborate with us. And also we have like some kind of industrial project that we are developing with our partners. Like I guess some of you already saw the news that we are working with Capgemini to develop hydrogen storage, solid state of hydrogen for mobility application. We signed agreements with them, but we are saying also agreements with other partners in Morocco or abroad to develop different kind of solution. That means with M6P, we are open for any kind of collaboration.
Thank you, Professor.
Professor, excuse me to jump in. I think, hello?
Yes.
I think that Mariam wanted to ask the criteria of acceptation for UM6P collaborators. So maybe I can answer that. Mariam, you can directly reach out to Ms. Raja Akhbaza from HR department, and she can share all details with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manal. So, till we have the next question, I see the presentation. So I prepare some question for Professor Pike. So we can see that the government of Morocco and our king have the strategy for production of hydrogen. So how can Morocco geography, location, and natural resource give it a competitive advantage in the market, in the worldwide market for the production of hydrogen?
Okay, thank you for this question. I think Morocco, if we are speaking about the conditions that we're normally necessary to develop this kind of technology in Morocco, we have already them in Morocco because we have already a skilled people. We are having a good understanding of the technology, but also, as I explained to you at the beginning, as feedstock for this kind of material, we need just water, renewable electricity. We have lots of good conditions of solar and wind energy in many parts of Morocco. We have also a very large sea access over all Morocco. We have more than 3,500 kilometers. That means we can have access to seawater to do desalination, and from the water that we have there, we will be able to produce hydrogen. The second question relates with development of hydrogen business is the end user. End user, fortunately with OCP, is going to take the quantity of the ammonia will be produced at the beginning to produce green fertilizer. That means the half of the problem is already solved, with the idea that the other part or the excess will be exported to Europe. But before arriving to that, we have the question of how we can transport the hydrogen. This is like the big problem that we are going to suffer in worldwide. Morocco is having like the advantage that is very close to Europe. In short term, we can transport hydrogen via ammonia. That means we can transfer it from hydrogen to the ammonia. Ammonia can be exported by ships, by boats to Europe. In case that is going to be used as ammonia, that's better. But otherwise, also the Europe are preparing many ports with cracking system to transform this ammonia to hydrogen. And nitrogen normally should be thrown just in the atmosphere, because we have the atmosphere is composed by 75% of nitrogen. That means as the immediate plan of today, we can export ammonia, hydrogen in form of ammonia to Europe. In mid and long term, of course, you heard about the gas zodiac between Nigeria to Morocco and going to Europe. Normally, this pipeline is going to support the transport of hydrogen. This is also other advantage that can be used in the case of Morocco to export hydrogen to Europe. And yesterday we saw some signing ceremony between the governments of France with Morocco that they want to invest in this gazoduct from Nigeria to Europe with the aim that also will support the export of hydrogen from Morocco.
Thank you, Professor. So we can say Morocco product hydrogen very easily as we have such a strategic position with Europe. For the next question from Zainab, she said that what's some operational risk for producing electricity from hydrogen?
There is no no danger at all, because as I explained to you before, the electrolysis, we have two cathode and anode. Normally when we have them, we need to have a clear separation between them, because when we split the molecule of the water and we have like the percentage of hydrogen with oxygen mix is above some percentage, we can have some kind of explosion. But when we are going from hydrogen, you can just fuel cell, you inject normally your hydrogen to your fuel cell, you have the air from the other side, and when they are arriving to the part where you have the ionization, for example, in the case of PEM technology, you have the ionization of the hydrogen to form two protons. These two protons are associated with oxygen to form water and to provide electricity. Why? Normally, because also if we are speaking that hydrogen can be used as well in thermal engine to burn the hydrogen. But the question that when we are burning hydrogen in the presence of the air, not the oxygen, we can have some side product NOx gases. This is like the risk. When we are coming to fuel cells, no, we are producing just steam and electricity, and is having efficiency even higher than burning hydrogen in the presence of the air. That means the technology, when we are speaking about fuel cells, already matter technologies, we have 5 provide us high efficiency of converting the hydrogen to steam and to electricity without any kind of associated risks.
Okay, thank you, Professor. For the next questions from Ashraf, given the essential role of hydrogen storage is stabilizing the supply chain, could you elaborate on how the program addresses advanced hydrogen storage solution, particularly in the term of the large-scale storage techniques such underground caverns?
Yeah, this is what we in the previous edition, normally we are speaking about all kinds of technologies of the hydrogen storage. That means we are speaking the first thing about storage of hydrogen in liquid form that normally is used by NASA for aerospace application. We are speaking about compressed hydrogen storage. That means compressed hydrogen storage. We can have a different kind of forms, high pressure or high pressurized hydrogen or lower. That means in this case we have different kind of technologies of the tank of the storage. We have 4 technologies and the 5th one under development. And of course, when we move from one technology to other, sometimes we are decreasing the weight of the storage tank or increasing the mechanical strength of the container, or also decreasing the cost. That means this technology is still in development, because also it depends for what kind of application that you need, for industrial storage of hydrogen, or you need to use it in transportation mobility, that you should not have heavy storage tank. And after that also we have what we call the geological storage of hydrogen. That means underground. In this case also we have different kind of scenarios. It depends of the caverns that we have in underground. Here in Morocco we already identified some of them in the region of Mohammedia, in the northern region of Morocco, that can be adequate to store hydrogen, or even we can use the storage of the hydrogen underground in the case that we have some kind of empty place of fossil fuels in the past that was already extracted, and we can use there, or for some kind of caverns of salt. That means we were giving an overview about all kinds of technologies, but when you come and you start to look the advantage, disadvantage of each technology, this depends of the end user, the final application. For example, for mobility, you should use this kind of technology, but you should like having like a storage tank is not heavy and so on. That means in this case, the weight is matter for this kind of application. But for us as program, we are providing all kinds of technologies to the participants. And after that, we're just providing some kind of comparison, and it's depend of the final application and user. At this case, you can have scenario A, B, or C, or D.
Okay, thank you, sir. For the next question from Ayub, when we have a small scale project for hydrogen production, what is the technology of electrolyzers? It's better to use between PEM, AKE, or SOIC in terms of efficiency, LSOH, and storage.
It's not question if it is small or big. Because here we have like two technologies in the market nowadays are matter technology, alkaline technology and PEM. Later on, we are going to speak about IOM and SOIC technology. When we are comparing PEM and IOM, IOM is cheaper compared to the PEM. Alkaline technology, the size of the unit is bigger than PEM. That means in this case, for the footprint, the PEM is having advantage. The question of how these technologies can work under intermittency, we still have big questions, because even that if you have like a stable source, at this case, you can use just alkaline technologies because it's cheaper compared to the PEM. But in case you have some kind of challenges related with the space and related as well with the intermittency, PEM technology maybe is better, but I am telling just maybe, because you should do your business plan to compare them and later on to arrive with the right answer. And for the emerging technologies, when we are speaking about SOIC technologies, normally we are claiming that can have higher efficiency compared to the PEM and the alkaline technology, but still also just in infancy, just means in the early stage of the development. We have IOM technology that we are trying to take the benefits of PEM and alkaline technology to combine them in one technology that's called IOM technology. But the big problem that we have nowadays with the stability of the membranes that we are using there to transport the hydroxide form, that means the lifetime of the stack is shorter compared to the others. That means nowadays we can tell alkaline technology is the more implemented one, but with intermittency to move to renewable, if we have like a very sharp peaks of intermittency, at this case we are speaking about PEM. The future tomorrow, nobody knows. It depends of how fast we are going to develop each one of these kind of technologies.
Okay, thank you, sir. For the next question from Kumar, in a bigger scale of hydrogen, for green hydrogen production, is that really a necessity to install the passive harmonic filter or passive reactive power compensation systems? And active harmonic filter have to be integrated with megawatt capacity of electrolyzer, sir. In order to have a smooth flow of electricity to the electrolyzer, does the above equipment really wanted to be installed?
This is a very, very big question. You should come here and you are going to meet with the experts, and maybe we will have debates of weeks to answer to this question, because it's not easy to answer. Why? Because it depends on the business plan. Because here, when you are speaking just about installation of buffer to store electricity or not, to have some kind of filters, this is like a big question to answer. What is the necessary now in the model that we want to develop? It depends of the region where you are going to implement this kind of green hydrogen facilities, because, and also it depends of regulation. Because if you are using electricity from the grid, like power purchase agreements, if you have the regulation going in this sense, that means you have a stable source of electricity, will solve a big part of the problem. But the question that to be labeled like a green hydrogen, you should have like an island solution. In this case, the question is problematic, and it depends of the region that we have. It depends of the choice of the technology that you are using for renewable electricity production, PV or wind, combining both of them, how the intermittency in this region. In this case, you should look what is the best way to implement both technologies, and taking the advantage of both of them and ending at the up with the best solution for this kind of energetic mix, and also the mix of the technologies.
Okay, the next, I don't think it's a question, Professor, but it's he asking for your opinion about the producing hydrogen from distilled water make the price of hydrogen much higher than when it's producing from fossil fuels, which create a a great challenge for the green hydrogen market. However, using seawater is highly risky, especially due to the production of chlorine gas during the electrolysis, which can damage the electrolytic cells. This issue add further challenge to the green hydrogen market.
Okay, thank you for this nice question. But I just when we are speaking about the use of seawater is not directly with the electrolyzer, because we know this technology already in the market that is used here in Morocco instead to produce some kind of products with high added value, like chlorine, like hydroxide, and so on. And they are producing hydrogen just as a byproduct. And most of these kind of companies, they are throwing the hydrogen to the atmosphere. We have one in Mohammedia SNEP, or we have worldwide many of these kind of technologies, but not with the main aim to produce hydrogen. Hydrogen is produced just as byproducts. When we are speaking about seawater, we have a unit of desalination of seawater. This is like a unit for desalination of seawater. And according to many studies we can share with you later, when you take the contribution of the desalination of seawater to the final price of the production of hydrogen is very minor, is negligible. You can speak about $0.01 up to $0.02 per each kilogram of hydrogen produced. That means the contribution is almost nothing. All the plants that we are going to construct in Morocco will be connected with their own green water desalination units to this kind of technologies. But we are not speaking about direct electrolysis of seawater. It's transforming seawater to pure water and using it later in the electrolysis. When we are speaking about the cost, yes, the cost now we are speaking that the cost of green hydrogen is 3 times higher than gray hydrogen. This is clear. But the question that we have also the target of DOE in the future to arrive to produce green hydrogen by $1 per kilogram. If we produce it in the future by this price, that is doable by developing more the technologies, by upscaling the production of the unit of the electrolyzer, by decreasing the cost of globalized cost of electricity, and so on. That means we can reach this kind of the value. That means the future will be for green hydrogen, not for other kind of hydrogen based on fossil fuels. And the example I was providing to you in the beginning, the price of the ammonia in the world nowadays, we are speaking about $300. But when the war between Ukraine and Russia starts, at that moment, the price was jumping to $1,400. It means if we were implementing already a solution of green ammonia production in Morocco with a price of $600, that means this price will be stable strategically, that you are independent of abroad. And second time, you have like a price that are stable for 25 years of the existing of this kind of solution.
Thank you so much. So, Professor, the production of hydrogen in Morocco can make the price of the hydrogen be stable.
Exactly. This is our aim, because here, as I explained to you, what is increasing the cost of the hydrogen is the source of the renewable electricity. But here in Morocco, we have a very competitive cost for the production of PV technology and also wind. And in the case of OCP group, for example, or the Moroccan offer, we want to implement it in the southern region of Morocco. Why? For a simple reason, because there we have a good quality of solar and good quality of wind. That means during the day, instead of operating your electrolyzer 12 hours, you can operate it 16 hours or 18 hours. It depends on the available wind during the night. That means this is what we want to do, to have a good quality of renewable electricity with low cost, and also to produce electrolyzer here in Morocco, aiming to decrease the cost, the capex of the materials. And with that, we can arrive to have a very good competitive price of green hydrogen at the moment. But of course, this price that we are going to fix now, if we are not decreasing it with the time, will not increase, not like the case of gray hydrogen that is strongly dependent of the price of the natural gas.
Okay, like Morocco going to benefit from the condition of the weather for each city of Morocco.
Exactly.
Yeah. sir, for the next explanation, Imtiaz, need your explanation for the small scale, medium scale, large scale, and the Gaga factors in the term of million tons of annual production capacity of existing grain hydrogen units.
We don't have clear definition between what is small, what is medium, what is a large scale. But just to give you idea about the 1 million that normally OCPD wants to produce, because we can at EM6P now we are developing different levels of projects. We can speak about small scale. We have units at the university of 25 kilowatts of alkaline technology, and soon we are going to install 25 kilowatts of PEM technology will be installed at the university for tutorials, for teaching, and so on. After that, I am involved in other projects to install 4 megawatts to produce 4 tons of green ammonia in Josfar. That is in the phase of the commissioning and will be ready soon to be used for demonstration. We have a project of Innovix that normally they are implementing at Josfar, where they are going to develop 100 megawatts of electrolyzer capacity to produce 100,000 tons of ammonia per year. In Tarfaya, we are speaking about a project of 1 million tons by 2027. That means we are speaking about 2.5 gigawatts of electrolyzer capacity. This is, we can call it mega projects. The other ones, medium or small projects, but the mega projects, when you are speaking about production of 1 million tons, that means you have more than 1 gigawatt of electrolyzer capacity. In this case, we have 2.5, but by 2032 to reach 7.5 gigawatts of electrolyzer capacity.
Okay. Thank you for your explanation, Professor. So right now I have a question to you. Going away from the science, we are talking about the weather. You talk also, Professor, about the impact of the emission of CO2 and the environment. Can you optimize or assume that if we have a production of hydrogen, green hydrogen, and use it in different fields in Morocco, can we see the reduce of temperature and have a calm weather in Morocco?
No, this is not just a mission of Morocco. This is a mission of all the world, and even that the more industrial countries that they have this challenge. And this is the reason why also when we are developing these green molecules in Morocco is not to assume all the costs by Morocco. We are discussing with the most industrial countries, but that are responsible of the contamination of the globe, to consume these green molecules or renewable electricity that we are implementing here in Morocco. Just part of this production normally should be oriented to the Moroccan market, but the big part should be exported to other countries. Like the Moroccan offer of green hydrogen is aiming to install different facilities in southern region of Morocco. But of course, all the production that's coming from these plants will be exported to more industrial countries. That means here in Morocco, we are conscious about the impact that we have in the climate change. But as you can see, not just Morocco, all Africa, they have a very minor responsibility of the climate change, but is impacted by it. That means now in Africa, when we are developing this kind of solution, is not just for our own consumption, but of course, to get benefits also kind of subvention, but also to sell the products to abroad of Morocco.
Okay, thank you, Professor, for the explanation. So someone here, Leila Tajdin, has raised her hand to ask.
Thank you for your presentation. The subject is very important. I have only one question regarding the resource, because the professor, he mentioned that the technology will be based on the use of water at the liquid state. So, and currently there are many projects, they focus on the water as the vapor state, because we can generate it from the air. I don't know if in Morocco we can adjust this technology in your project using water from the air, the vapor water from the air. Because now there is another technology, the vapor, it's generated from the air, directly from the air, not from the water. Yeah. Because there is another charge of, as you mentioned, to purificating the water and all this issue.
Yeah, is the question just the quantity for these technologies? If the quantity will be enough to operate these power plants or these plants 24/7? This like the big question. If we will have enough quantity of the water, and second question is related with the cost, because as I explained before, desalination. When you are speaking about projects like that where we have billions of dollars that are investing in this kind of plants, when you implement a desalination unit, the cost is negligible in front of the big plants. But also the target of this kind of project is also to have a social impact. You can imagine, for example, in some region here in Morocco, you told them, okay, I will install a hydrogen factory. But when you tell them, I will associate you with that desalination unit and I will provide you a drinkable water or water for agriculture. That means we can have some kind of social impacts associated with this kind of development. This is something that we should not forget about developing this technology. But if we have like some kind of competitive price to take the water from the air, this is in very competitive way. That's good, but we should have the quantity. When we are speaking about steam, when we speak about alkaline technology and PEM are operating below 90 degree or 80 degree, is depend of the technology that we are buying in the market. That means it's just liquid water. When we are going to soil technology, at that moment we need a steam at very high temperature, 700 or 600. That means this kind of solution can be associated with some kind of industries that where they have the steam, waste steam at a high temperature. Like that, we can increase the efficiency of our electrolyzer technology.
Thank you, Professor.
Okay, thank you, Leila, for your questions. We are still talking about hydrogen. So as the strategy from our King of Morocco or the worldwide, their strategy to produce hydrogen. I would like to ask our professor, as he have like a big vision of about the production of hydrogen. Can I say is the production of hydrogen can create like a job and boost the economy of Morocco worldwide, or just have like a more topic in thesis or more startup for the production of hydrogen?
No, of course, as you see in the Moroccan offer of green hydrogen, is the aim is to create more than 400,000 jobs by 2050. But also, when we are speaking about green hydrogen, is like an industry. It's not like renewable electricity that we install PV panels there, and where you have one person can monitor, operates the plants. Or in the case of wind energy, we need just the manpower for the maintenance. That's all. When we are speaking about hydrogen, there are factories that normally you need to have people operating there to run the machine, to produce hydrogen, to store it, to run the Haber-Bosch, for example, Fischer-Tropsch technology, and so on. That means we are creating new industries that will create more jobs in Morocco. This is the importance of developing green hydrogen and its derivative in Morocco, because it will have a great impact on the recruiting more people. This is the reason why at the university we are trying to prepare the skilled people, because also sometimes when some new emerging technologies just starting, you didn't find the right skilled people to work on them. This is our mission at the university. This executive master is just to prepare the managers, the directors. But of course, very soon we are going to learn to launch what we call upskilling. That means even engineering that we have working in other disciplines, they can come to the university to learn how to deal with these new technologies, what is the fundamentals of it, how they can operate them, how they can also produce this kind of technologies at laboratory scale before expanding this knowledge to the industry where they are going to be recruited or hired.
Okay, thank you, Professor. As I observe from the Master Executive Program that you create like 8 model, starting from the fundamental of hydrogen till the green molecule synthesis of green ammonia, the impact on the environment, also the business method and policy strategy, the safety, and the final project. I see that you have, like, if someone coming with no information about hydrogen, he will be full knowledge about hydrogen. how can people go into this master, and what's your condition?
Yeah, the conditions that if the person are interested, the right to manage, but it also is mentioned in the program online or also in our brochure, that to have engineering degree or equivalent, and after that have been working in industry for at least 2 years. This is like the condition that we established for eligibility. But of course, this master is not targeting just the technical models of the production and so on, but we have also safety and we have also business. What we are doing, we are trying to have like in the first edition to have 2 cores. One core that the people are more technical, that they know what is the not about hydrogen, but about other field. Other one that the people are working in strategy and something like that. And this when we hire the experts, normally we provide them what kind of profile we have in each course. That means the expert sometimes is diving more when they have people that are technical, they have more techniques in the field or in similar field, and they can be a little bit up sharing their expertise with the participants. Why we are doing that? Because we are conscient that to develop hydrogen economy in Morocco, we don't need just the people are knowing the techniques, but also the people that they are going to develop a project, they are going to develop a business plan, the people that are going to take care about safety, the people that they should also create what are going to be our regulation in Morocco, the standards we should follow. That means we need different kind of profiles, as it's not possible to create like a master specialized in each one. We are creating this one to provide the necessary knowledge in each part or each block of the value chain to the participants with some kind of deep diving in the matter that the person is interested by.
Okay. Thank you, Professor, for the presentation. Thank you for listening for the audience. And this is the end. Take more information about training and our master executive and about the approach of the production of hydrogen. And thank you so much. Thank you, Professor, for your presentation.